Good evening. We have a country to save, or we die trying. This is Small Town Underground, episode number 2 of Situational Awareness. And I kind of want to just get in tonight after all the dust has settled. Everything is sort of, well, still muddled, correct? But let's talk about the debate very quickly. So the first thing I want to cover wasn't much of a debate at all. Really, it was pretty much an embarrassment, if you will. Just a real showing of just how bad and in crisis our nation is, how asleep at the wheel that our leaders are in this country, and what a shame, what an embarrassment that this debate was between Joe Child Sniffer Biden, and Donald Trump. So if you watch my weekly show, I told you that I wouldn't be able to watch it, and I probably wouldn't have watched it anyway, because we already knew that what the kind of dog and pony show this would be, what kind of clown show that we were going to run into, and lo and behold, I don't think anybody was even expecting it to be this bad. I mean, they literally hyped up Biden like he was down in a cellar, in Camp David for a week, training like Rocky for this, and it was just so embarrassing. I do give Donald Trump credit for, for holding back, for showing some restraint, showing people that he could restrain. I mean, at this point, I think we all agree that this is elder abuse, and Dr. Jill Biden should be ashamed of herself, probably arrested for elder abuse. I mean, that's really what this boils down to. But it just shows you how far down our political system has gone, how much in control a very dark entity, a dark hand, if you will, is at the helm that is driving the ship and driving us straight down the toilet, as we are witnessing. So just want to cover a couple things. One, again, I go back to the embarrassment. I mean, I would think if I was some world leader that had watched that debate, and I was like, had interest in American soil, American economy, anything, I mean, it would be ripe for the taking. I mean, it just shows the weakness that, portrays the weakness that we just currently have in this nation. It's embarrassing. So I don't even call it a debate, of course. I call it just another dog and pony, a clown show that we had to witness and go through. And mind you, again, I find no fault in anybody that watched it. I, of course, saw the snippets and the clips and everything that Biden mumbled and everything that Trump said. And CNN, to me, it just validates CNN. And CNN is a clown news network. They are not news. They are idiots. And we need to start calling them out. The fact that they had Dana Bash and Jake Tapper over as the moderators, it's pretty. I mean, it's lame. I don't know what else I can tell you guys. Like, this is ugh. It's insane. So it's just a preview of to come. So let's move on to the meat and potatoes of this, because these are quick situation awareness. So a lot of people are. I mean, they could be betting on what is going to happen come November. I mean, you could be betting on this like the Super Bowl, for God's sakes. There's so many different branches, so many different ways that these things are going to... In other words, we don't really know what's going to happen. I don't even know that the deep state knows what's going to happen. And one other thing I wanted to bring up, a lot of people are talking about how shocked, like these Democrats and these far left liberals and these left leaning, the idiocracy portion of our nation are surprised or let down about how bad Joe Biden was, and they had to admit it last week. They had to admit it in front of the entire world, like this cannot stand. We've got to do something. We've got to get rid of Joe Biden. And a lot of people think that they're just stupid or they're getting paid. I'm not so certain that these people aren't genuinely just completely unplugged out of their own echo chamber, out of their own bubble, that they really thought that maybe Joe Biden was good. Maybe they've lied to themselves so much they believe this, right? But the backfire. I mean, when you have people like Cenk Uygur or whatever his name is, the Young Turks coming out and saying this is, DEFCON 1. I mean, That there's something to be said for that. And idiots like Bill Maher, who's like saying, "Hey, we can't keep lying to ourselves about this." I mean, either these people that work in the news, they sign these non-disclosure agreements or some kind of agreement like you must lie, every word out of your mouth has to be a lie, or you're not going to get paid, or they really believe like that things are okay, which is really, really scary, because tinfoil hatters like myself, people down the rabbit holes, we just get validated day in and day out. The Alex Joneses of the world get validated day in and day out. And just like CNN was saying, that what happened in the debate with Joe Biden basically validated what the far right's been saying. And I'm like, are you people that stupid? Like, can you not see the truth unless it jumped up and bit you in the face? I mean, the whole thing, to me, it screams psyop. The whole thing to me just, like, at what point am I supposed to give in to the idiocracy or waste my time with this stuff? The sheer idiocracy, like, it's like worse than burning brain cells, taking an acid trip or something. I don't know. I've never done it, but I'm just saying, like, do we really spend our time having to focus on this stupidity? That's what's going on. And by the way, which we're not going to cover tonight, but the Supreme Court looks like it's ruling in favor of immunity, and we could cover that. Hopefully we will later, but it's not something I want to get into tonight. So let's go back to what my point was. A lot of people, so this is the betting odds. So you have all of these people, there's different opinions about this, about how can they get rid of Joe Biden and not let Kamala Harris be president, right? Which I think there's probably some issues there involved, right? Because the Joe Biden campaign has already come out and said that they're not going to stop. They're not going to throw in the towel. And then there's an awful lot of people that say that Michelle Obama is going to step up and run for president, Big Mike. So who knows at this point? I'm just using conjecture at this point. So I don't agree or disagree with anybody, because I'm in this like anybody else. Where do we go from this insanity? Well, if I'm putting some betting money in, I'm going to bet that it's not going to be Michelle Obama. It's not going to be Kamala or Joe Biden. I believe that they are and have been prepping Gavin Newsom, okay? Gavin Newsom to run for president. Now, why do I say that? There's been several things going on in the last few months. Gavin Newsom, for example, went on a world tour, visiting world leaders all over the place. The fact that he was there at the CNN spin room the day in Atlanta, the day of this debate, says an awful lot. And his demeanor, you don't listen to what they say, you watch what they do, you see. It just seems to me like they're prepping him up. I don't know how you can run Michelle Obama over Kamala Harris. Both of them are black women. There's something to be said about that. I feel like that would backfire on them. I don't think that you can just write off Kamala Harris from any of this stuff, because she is the vice president. She might stand up and have something to say about it, or who knows? They could run on with Joe Biden, because literally the dark hand is behind all this. They were behind the curtain running this thing into the ground, and Joe Biden is a perfect cover. I mean, so who on earth knows? Now, my thoughts still stand. Will we have an election in November? And please leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Will we have an election in November? Because I cannot see at this point that we'll have an election in November. But if we do, all that aside, I believe that whoever they're going to nominate, and my money's on Gavin Newsom, they're going to wait till the absolute last minute to nominate this person, so they have very little airtime coverage, they have very little preparation, and it will create the excitement and the vigor that they need to get back out there and get back on top of the Democrat vote, right? Obviously, Robert Kennedy's there in the whims. They hate Robert Kennedy. It would be crazy for them to turn around and offer it to Robert Kennedy after they've spent all this time bashing him. But we've all seen the DNC and how they operate. There's no secret that their nominees are completely handpicked, right? I mean, the Republicans are bad enough, right? We're bad enough, but the fact that they don't even hide it, it's beyond me. But it's a systematic failure of leadership, of government responsibility, the fact that Joe Biden is even there. And who knows, they could try something worse, right? their little gold weapon through all this could be very simply to, Biden, something happens, he has an accident, an aneurysm, something happens that takes him out naturally. Who knows? At this point, it's anybody's guess, and who knows where they're going to go with this. But here it is, July, and we need to be aware because, August, September, October, with about 4 months here left, and any plethora of things can happen, especially geopolitically. In fact, now that all this has happened with this debate and everybody's seen how weak our nation is and our government, things have actually kind of quietened down on the war front all over the place, which they're dealing with all kinds of populist movements that are gaining traction everywhere in Europe and different places. And Donald Trump has publicly come out and said that when he's elected, within the first week or so he's elected, there will be peace treaties signed in every conflict. And that the military-industrial complex will not allow that, right? So we need to be watching out for everything around us. And again, not to worry about all of this. Also, keep in mind that with this immunity charge, this immunity ruling, they are basically putting off the Trump sentencing. So, see, there's a twist that I don't think any of us saw coming. We're sitting here, Trump hasn't officially been endorsed by the Republican Party. There is no official endorsement from the Democrat Party. The first debate goes on, and we're all sitting here waiting on the Trump sentencing, which I believe has been postponed indefinitely, so it may not even happen before November. And then you have this media backlash last week where they're like, jaw dropped, I can't believe this is happening. Now they're back to their same old script, which is making excuses and talking about Biden be a leader. So who knows? If you don't think that these people are dumb enough to actually run Biden, which brings a whole set of other consequences, because at this point, unless there's just complete blatant cheating and we're completely off our game, Donald Trump is set to win the presidency. And with that is going to come the summer of love times 15. They're going to try to destroy us from the inside out. So, our options aren't looking good here. So you just need to constantly be aware, constantly be understanding that we need to make sure that we're on the top of our game when it comes to watching out for these crazy things that are going to happen, right? So it's anybody's guess at this point, and I'm not convinced that the deep state even knows what is going to happen. But like I said, there's only so many brain cells that you can waste on this garbage, right? So, that being said, I'm just looking forward to seeing Trump and more of his campaign, more of his what he's planning on doing, talking about releasing the J6 prisoners. We've had some very good rulings with our J6 prisoners. He's talking all kinds of good things, like taking out the payroll taxes for American citizens. He's talking about, of course, border security, right, and immigration control. But he's also talking about even taking away taxes on tips. This is great stuff. How many politicians do you know that's even talking like this? So let's focus more on the policies and let's hold Trump his feet to the fire, right? So we do have some good things coming, but some very surprising things that just need us to be on the lookout. And the last thing I want to cover this evening is a lot of people are seeing now that their social media posts, things that go back a year, 2 years, things that are happening, they're starting to get stricken, they're starting to get banned, they're starting to get taken off social media. And as we know, if you've been paying attention, you realize that the government is back at it again with Google and with Facebook and especially Instagram and all of these social media companies, minus a few, that are dead set on silencing everybody. We have local, in our Georgia state, we have Democrats and Republicans teaming up with democracy initiatives in this state to fight misinformation of election integrity while completely ignoring election fact, election evidence, tampering evidence, right? Court cases ongoing. So we have these major pushes. They want to shut you up. They want to shut your mouth. They don't want you posting on it. And we've been down this road before. I've been down this road before. A lot of my friends have been down this road before. Now I am seeing it on some bigger names and bigger people that are getting kicked off everywhere. I won't name anybody just because I've not asked anybody, but I've seen some prominent people that are getting kicked out of their social media. The empire is striking back. And don't think for a second that the Republican establishment arm won't work hand in hand with Democrats and the government to turn people in that are trying to focus on the truth, integrity, accountability, all these things. So hold on to your hats, people. Anything can happen. I've been there before. I've had all of my stuff taken away. It has been restored. But there's a reason why sometimes we should show restraint. And it's not because we're cowards. It's not because we don't believe in freedom of speech, but we're simply at the mercy of these people. And I see a really good meme that I want to post that would make heads turn. Sometimes you have to think about that stuff. You got to think about the greater good. Will this impact me in a way that's going to get everything taken away, right? Because that's not always the case, and we understand that. But you need to have situational awareness. We have no idea what the next chapter of this election year, this cycle is going to be. And you need to be careful on your social media. This is how we get our information out. This is how we coordinate and we talk and we look for the truth. So I've been there before, brothers and sisters. I know exactly how tough it is and how crazy it is to have everything just wiped off. That's why I don't really expect anything from any of this. I will do this as long as I can. But those are the two things that I got out of this week that are worth focusing on. So make sure you stay tuned. We got Small Town Underground, YouTube, Rumble. We've got Kingdom Lum Small Town on Facebook, Small Town Underground X, Telegram. We're posting wherever we can, trying to get out to the people, trying to organize and get people on the same wavelength. But definitely be watching. Who on earth knows where we're going to be at a week from now, because each week I get more and more surprised, and then seems like more and more dumbed down by the crap that they're spewing and throwing out at us. I don't know how people are not more awake than this. But if you like what you're hearing, you can always send me a donation at givesendgo.com/King Small Town Underground, and shows every Wednesday night live at 9 p.m. Thank you. Have a good week. Talk to you soon.